Hi, my name is Chelsea Daley, and I'm going to be speaking on raising your hand and changing the world, building confidence in girls and women. When I was 7 years old, I had one goal in life, and that was to help people. I can remember the first issue that I cared the most about, and that was helping the environment. At the time, I lived on a river that was being filled with toxic chemicals. I can remember the kids no longer coming out to play, and me and my brother finding that there was dead sea life all over the beach. I remember thinking then that someone had to do something about it. And at 7 years old, that someone had to be me. So like any 7-year-old would, I broke out my crayons and I wrote a letter to the president about it. I remember writing in the letter that although I wasn't the expert on the situation and although I didn't know everything I needed to know about marine life, my opinion mattered, and that mattered to me. So, after writing to the president, I decided to use my voice. I used my voice anywhere where it was accepted. My Girl Scout troop, my parents, my teachers. I spoke up to anyone who would listen. I cared so much about this issue that I was willing to put forth my experiences and tell my story in any environment that would accept it. Later on in life, I found that something had changed. Although I was more confident and I had built up a wide range of issues and experiences that I was passionate about, I wasn't as willing to speak up. And when I did, I second-guessed myself. This isn't uncommon. As a matter of fact, Harvard Business Review actually studied the patterns of women and men in the workplace and found that women were less likely to present their ideas than men. And even in elementary schools, boys were more likely to raise their hand. So this is an issue that ranges from elementary school to the workplace. I even found in my own research that when asking for the solution to this issue of confidence in women and girls, that my male colleagues were more likely to respond with a solution than my female colleagues, who have been directly impacted by it. So, how do we build a solution? We have to start asking some questions. The first question being, why is it that women have to relearn to be confident where it comes naturally for men? And also, how do we build environments that build confidence in women and girls from preschool to the workplace? The solution starts with having a conversation about gender equality and how we frame that as a women's issue in society today when it actually impacts all genders. It's important that we realize that as we're all impacted by gender equality, we can all have a part in the solution. And that's what I'm asking you to do today. So what is the solution? Building environments where women and girls feel not only confident enough to speak up, but feel empowered to do so. And so how do we do that? I'm going to talk about 3 main ways that we can do this. The first being starting with ourselves and how we view ourselves as women. The second being how we view other women and girls in our lives. And the third being how we can build up communities. So first, when talking about self, I want you to consider if you consider yourself a hero. So behind me you see women with wands and capes and shields and all kinds of magic and mythical tools. And of course it's hyperbolic, but when we think of strength and bravery, these are the characteristics we want when we're advocating for an issue we care about. So, do you consider yourself strong or brave? And do you consider yourself strong and brave enough to talk on the issue? This is something that is an issue when it comes to confidence building. We don't think we're strong enough or brave enough or the smartest in the room, when in reality, we present a unique perspective and an opportunity to change the world with that perspective. And that's our greatest tool in advocacy. And it is more magic than a magic wand could ever give us. It's important to consider that everyone that you've ever looked up to and all of your heroes in real life have started just where you are today, sitting in the exact seat with the same passion that you're starting with. So, what does that mean for you exactly? That means that you can teach yourself anything that you need to be able to accomplish the goals that you're setting for yourself and the movement that you're trying to build. Which brings me to my second point, becoming a hero. To become a hero, we must empower the women and girls in our lives. And it's important to discover how we can do that. And the first step to doing that is by telling women that they're good at something. When have you ever had a friend maybe tell a joke or do a dance or maybe a magic trick and you didn't tell them that they were good at it? It's important to recognize the error that we've found in building confidence in women and making it strongly about looks and rather than who they are. We've done a huge disservice to women with this. We've got to start teaching girls that attainable characteristics like being strong, being funny, being kinder, these are all things we can strive towards, and they're things that girls already are. Girls are likable, electable, kind. These are ways that we build a movement so much stronger than that at face value. Another way that we can help build up women in our community is actually an example I've taken from the White House Obama administration. Female staffers would sit around in a meeting, and if a woman presented an idea, they would make sure that they referred to that idea with the female staffer's name to ensure that history was written that that was that female staffer's idea. It's important that if you've never had your idea stolen before, that you understand that this is something easy that we can all do, and it's something that could literally rewrite history. Finally, when you become someone who's in a position of power or you learn a new skill, leave the door open. It's important that we recognize that other girls are not our competition, but are our colleagues in this movement. So teach them a new skill and leave the door open for the girls that come after you, because this movement is so much bigger than just ourselves, and the world will thank you for that. And finally, becoming a hero yourself is building a community. And so I have one final ask for you, and it may be challenging for some, and that's to tell your story. Write it down and get comfortable with it, and realize that it matters, and it's important in the perspective of the movement that you're trying to build. In the beginning of my speech, I told my story, and I told you why it mattered. And so it's important that you get comfortable telling yours, and you tell anyone who will listen, whether that's your parents, your Girl Scout troop, your elected officials, or even the President of the United States. Get comfortable telling it. Raise your hand and let it change the world. I can't wait to hear it. Thank you.